When the season tips off tonight, leading off, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving in the Nets versus Steph Curry and the Warriors. Durant, coming back from a ruptured Achilles, won't likely be on any minutes restrictions in his regular season debut for Brooklyn, explains ESPN's Malika Andrews.
They're really hoping to be able to unleash him a little bit, see what he can do. Steve Kerr said to me that he couldn't see the difference between the way Kevin Durant is playing now and the way he was playing before he hurt his Achilles. And that, Steve said, should be scary for the rest of the league.
Malika with Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti. The other matchup, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and the defending champion Lakers go up against Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. 9:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Paul Pierce, Doug Collins, Michael Cooper, Lauren Jackson headline the group of first-time nominees for the 2021 Basketball Hall of Fame. The entire class will be unveiled during the NCAA Final Four in April. Good news for Florida star forward Keontae Johnson, released from the hospital today, just 10 days after collapsing on the court during a game against Florida State.
Hey, this is Keyshawn Johnson, wishing you a happy and safe holiday season full of good food and family. Thank you for listening to Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin this past year and also in 2021.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Welcome into After Further Review Tuesdays, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Matt Musso still in for Matt Moscona. Brain is here too.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
And of course, Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Another busy show lined up here on Tuesday. Of course, we'll have the latest from LSU and all the staff changes taking place over at Football Ops. Larry Holder will be here in his normal 3 o'clock hour spot to talk Saints. Plenty to talk about there with the, of course, the loss to the Chiefs, and then looking forward to a game this Friday with the Minnesota Vikings. Brody Miller stops by at 4 o'clock to talk LSU staff changes again as well. Lee Feinswag in his normal spot and Rohan Davey in his normal spot as well. We'll also give a little first pass at the Saints-Vikings matchup this Friday afternoon in the Superdome. But we will start with the latest from LSU, and it's been a very busy couple of days over in Football Ops. Yesterday, about half an hour before we went off the air here, it was announced that and reported that LSU was expected to part ways with Bo Pelini after only 1 year of Pelini being the defensive coordinator in Baton Rouge. That was later confirmed by LSU later yesterday evening. Along with the Pelini report yesterday afternoon, however, it was reported that safeties coach Bill Bush was expected to not return to LSU for 2021, and that defensive line coach Bill Johnson was expected to retire. Fast forward about 10 o'clock at night or so, and we have a report from the Advocate that passing game coordinator Scott Linehan is expected to not return to LSU staff as well. That brought the total to 4 current coaches on the staff going separate ways from LSU. And then this afternoon, Brooks Cabina of the Advocate once again reported that LSU offensive coordinator Steve Ensminger is now expected to not return to that in that same role at LSU in 2021, rather possibly be reassigned somewhere else on the staff, but retire from on-field coaching. That means that Ed Orgeron is tasked with replacing both coordinators. This is the first time that a returning LSU head football coach, or a sitting LSU head football coach, has had to replace both coordinators since 1979 at least. And it will be no small task, as these will be the most important hires of Ed Orgeron's tenure so far at LSU. And they need to be pretty precise. He needs to nail these, because if not, time Time is going to run out, and he knows that. And he knows that probably better than anybody. It's going to leave him with a lot of interesting options. Naturally, you can go with, well, who does he bring in, right? That's going to be the first question is, well, what are the names for the job? But it's not just that. It's what direction does he want to go with his staff? Does he want to go younger with defense? Does he want to stay married to the four-man front scheme that he has, the 4-3 or 4-2-5, which you see more frequently in modern-day college football? What does he do with the 10th assistant spot? Bill Bush was brought in as that 10th on-field assistant when that rule was passed. That was in due large part to Dave Aranda. And that was Dave Aranda's right-hand man. He'd been with him at Wisconsin. He'd been with him at multiple stops, and Dave Aranda wanted him with him at LSU, and it paid big dividends having Bill Bush on staff for LSU, didn't it? Joe Burrow, Apu Ika, those guys contributed largely to a national championship and what many people believe is the greatest college football team of all time. So do they keep the 10th assistant on the defensive side of the ball? Does he go more to an offensive approach with that now? When he hires, how much do the new coordinators have a say in who fills out their own staff? Or is Coach O going to be the one guy who makes all the decisions? There are a lot of ways this could go, man. It's going to be an extremely interesting offseason in Baton Rouge. And as interesting as it'll be that much more important. So naturally, we'll look first here at the defensive coordinator and potential names that you could see. And I would think already you're seeing names that you see just about every time LSU needs the new defensive coordinator. Names that popped up last time when they were looking for a defensive coordinator before ultimately settling on Bo Pelini. You're also seeing names of fired head coaches who have been relieved of their duties. Will Muschamp, Derek Mason, Jeremy Pruitt, who has not been let go yet, but his name keeps popping up in relation to this job, and that might be the writing on the wall there for him if he's let go at Tennessee. I wouldn't go that route for any of them. I think you go the route of fresh and new and young. Someone who can relate to the players on staff. Someone who can relate to other coaches on your staff. If you're going to have this overhaul of your staff, why not push it all in one direction? And why not go a little bit younger? Why not go in the direction of guys who are more akin to modern college football or modern football in general? A name that a lot of people are throwing out there right now is Cincinnati's defensive coordinator. Marcus Freeman was just named a finalist for the Broyles Award today, which recognizes the best assistant coach in college football. Who better to start with than that? If you're going, he's 34 years old. He did just sign an extension at Cincinnati, but his salary is only $600,000. LSU can afford that. LSU can afford to buy him out of that contract and hire him on to their new contract. If you look at defensive line coach, one name that's really jumped to the front of the pack there is Bo Davis, who's with the Detroit Lions, but has been at LSU under Nick Saban at a time. He's been at Alabama. So he's got that footprint down in the South, and he's a guy that they like. Saints defensive line coach Ryan Nielsen's name has come up for both of those positions. Potential for defensive coordinator, potential for defensive line. The last hire they had from the Saints worked out okay, and that guy didn't have any coordinator experience either, just like Nielsen. So all names to consider, but all in that same realm of let's trend a little bit younger and go forward with that is the approach I would like to see LSU take. There's a guy at Georgia, Glenn Schumann, who's the co-defensive coordinator under Kirby Smart. He is looked upon as a great recruiter. He has worked under Kirby Smart. He has worked under Nick Saban. That's a guy who I could get behind LSU maybe taking a shot at and pursuing. The one thing they definitely need to do, though, is when they set out on this search, it needs to be a search and an in-depth search where candidates are vetted and interviewed multiple times to make sure they have their guy. Because, as we said at the start of this segment, there will be no more important hires than Coach O will make in his time at LSU than the ones he's about to, having to replace 5 guys on his staff. That is an overhaul of his staff. On the offensive side of the ball, passing game coordinator and what looks to be offensive coordinator will be open. I would be very surprised if Russ Callaway doesn't slide into at least one of those spots. That's a guy they seem to like. It's kind of the same situation you had last year with George Munoz, where that was a lot of the talk was, okay, well, they'll just promote George Munoz. That ended up not happening. I don't know, and a lot of people look at that as a mistake. I don't know if LSU would go the way of that again. I would, and they really seem to like Russ Callaway. The players really seem to like Russ Callaway. That's a guy who I would imagine slides into one of those roles, no matter, depending on which one that it might be. We will have much more on this and get a much more in-depth look at what factored into these decisions, how they make the money work. LSU, of course, some of them are retiring, right? But you got the buyout of Bo Pelini, which he did negotiate. Apparently, there is a settlement negotiation for him to just accept one lump sum and not the liquidated assets that were laid out in the contract. Scott Linehan is owed at least $1 million in his buyout, and there's a budget right now for LSU to part ways and hire new coaches. And that's all going to have to fit in a COVID year where coaches and athletic administrators have already taken pay cuts of their own in their own contract to save money for the athletic department. We'll get into all that and more at the top of the 4 o'clock hour with Brody Miller. Right now, we're going to grab our first break of the show. When we get back, Larry Holder will join us in his normal Tuesday spot, and we will recap the Saints' loss to the Chiefs, preview the Saints' game with the Vikings on Christmas Day. Stick around. That's coming up next here on AFR.
AFR.
Okay, it is the final few days before Christmas. Run to Carriages in Bocage. If you have not yet gotten that gift for the guy on your list, maybe it's a dad or a brother or maybe a husband or a father, whatever it may be, an uncle. If you need that gift, get by Carriages in Bocage. Voted by you the best men's clothier in the Best of 225 awards. They've got the best selection, the best in-house tailor. They have a great selection not only of suits and sport coats and dress shirts and officially licensed LSU gear and quarter zips and pullovers and jackets, but they've also got accessories. They've got footwear. They've got belts and cufflinks, everything. And if you don't know what to get, just get a gift card. It's Carriages in Bocage. And maybe the best part, you don't have to worry about the lines at all the gigantic stores. Carriages in Bocage, locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Take care of Dad this Christmas. Get by Carriages in Bocage or online at carriagesbr.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
The winner is the dog with antioxidant vitamin C.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 224.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Welcome back in after further review here on a Tuesday. This is when Larry Holder normally joins the show, and he will do just that right now as we look back at the week that was for the Saints and get caught up on the week that is for the New Orleans Saints. Larry, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, Musso. Good to talk to you on air for once. This is like, this is a new beginning for us.
This is different. This is different. I'm normally on the other side of the glass, so for sure it's my third day sitting in this chair for Matt.
I like it. Hopefully, you do something like booby trap it before he comes back. That would be magical.
Just like loosen a screw or something for when he sits down.
Just anything, where it falls and he can never prop it up and he loses it. Anything to just have him lose it. I'm in.
I'll switch this chair with T-Bob's chair and we'll leave that for Matt when he comes back.
That's right. But if you do booby trap him, that means you're booby trapping everyone. So
that's true.
It depends on whose wrath you want to take.
Yeah, I don't really want to booby trap the morning guys or Hanny and Hester. I don't want to do that. Just nice. Matt. So
yeah, I'm with you,
Larry. The Saints dropped the tough one to the Chiefs, not wholly unexpected, and honestly, they only lost by 3 points in a game where they were tremendously shorthanded. And Drew Brees was playing his first game in 4 weeks. The offense, though, was sluggish, and combo of injuries and Brees. Drew seemed to make a couple decisions that are uncharacteristic of Drew Brees, but overall didn't have his normal weapons out there. What did you make of the offense's performance against Kansas City?
Look, I think that early he definitely just looked uneasy back there, throwing the football. His first attempt was into double coverage to Taysom Hill. When he threw his interception, it was kind of a fluttering duck of a pass, and it was hard to watch. But later on, I felt like he got a little bit more comfortable, and then by that point, you could see it was Emmanuel Sanders and the practice squad, and that was really, to me, the bigger issue. That the windows for Drew to throw were really non-existent, even with Jared Cook, especially with Jared Cook, and he's someone you would think he would have a rapport with. They seem to be not anywhere in the same chapter, much less on the same page. And so, they certainly need to iron that out in the next couple of weeks, because do I anticipate them to get healthy? Yes, I do. That's why you put Michael Thomas and Deontay Harris on injured reserve, and the first week they can come back is the playoffs. But to me, I think that that the offense, you'd like to see a more crisp offense. And look, some other elements to it. Jameis Winston being on the COVID-19 list, that limited what you could do with Taysom Hill even more so than with Drew coming back. So I think you add those elements, and the offense wasn't quite near what we're used to watching.
You mentioned the injuries that are on the offense. Traquan Smith went down. Andrews Pete went down. Nick Easton was out with a concussion. Do they expect to get those guys back for Friday?
Well, they did not practice, say, a full session today. They did a walkthrough, and the injury report just came out. All three of those guys you mentioned were deemed not practicing today. The other player deemed not practicing today was Marcus Williams. The good news, and I know many Saints fans are wondering because it looked rough off after the sack fumble, but Trey Hendrickson was not even on the injury report. So that is a big plus. I mean, because, he's tied for the league lead in sacks. I mean, he's had a tremendous season and such a big part. But look, if you're without Traquan Smith and you're without Andres Pete and you're without Nick Easton, I mean, that leaves you down to, again, practice squad guys at wide receiver. And then your guards would be Cesar Ruiz and likely Will Clapp or James Hurst, probably Will Clapp, because you keep Hurst more as like the sixth lineman as a tackle. So look, that puts you behind, even though you're in the playoffs. You still want to be playing well, and the momentum right now is not. I mean, they've lost their last two games. They could have lost in Atlanta. So we're seeing a sluggish December, whether it's on the field or with injuries as well.
The lack of the running game is a bit concerning, and I guess that can be attributed to turnover on the offensive line right now with the injuries. But is there anything else you've seen as to why? I mean, this because for a stretch there they were just going 200-yard game, 200-yard game, and honestly, against pretty good defensive fronts that they were facing at the time. Is there anything besides just injury that you see might be holding the Saints' running game back right now?
Yeah, I think they made a tactical error against the Chiefs. I would have liked to have seen them run more on early downs, and it seemed like that did not happen. And then against Philly, they got behind so quick, I think you had to kind of scratch the running game a little bit. And so I don't attribute it to, say, lack of execution. I just feel like game circumstances a couple weeks ago, and then this week, I just felt like that they should have done more. And also, Taysom Hill, when he's quarterback, his runs are carries. So that, it's not just running backs. He can run it. And so you take away that element with Drew Brees in at quarterback, that takes away carries in the run game too, because Taysom Hill's runs count as running attempts. So, I don't think it's an issue where they're having major struggles as far as run blocking is concerned. I just think that we've seen some circumstances that have pushed them away from that. And look, when the Saints are great, they do that well. And so I think you're on to something where they've got to improve that, put themselves in circumstances to where they can run it more. And when you need the run to set up the pass for Drew. I mean, because I don't think teams necessarily respect him throwing the ball downfield, and so they played close up to the line with Kansas City and tried to take that element away.
Enough of the negative, enough of the slow offense that the Saints had Sunday. The defense played pretty well. They were very content to just sit back in the too high safety look and come up and make the play and keep everything in front of them. And honestly, for the most part, it worked pretty well. The Chiefs did put up 32 points, but that's because they're probably the most elite offense in the NFL. And you take the good with the bad. What did you make of the Saints' strategy and overall performance on defense Sunday?
I like what I saw pass rush-wise. It was better than what they had against Jalen Hurts with a similar style quarterback, but Mahomes can make magical things happen back there. Look, his numbers, when you look at them, were basically the same as Drew Brees' by the end of the game.
Yeah.
His passer rating wasn't great. They created a turnover from him and put him in some bad spots. So I don't really have a major issue of how they played defensively. Problem is they played too long defensively. That's the problem. That goes side by side where they didn't get stops on third down enough, and the offense went 1 of 11 and didn't stay on the field long enough. So if you change even a little bit of that, the Saints would have had a better shot at winning. So I don't know if they would have won, but I do like where you're going defensively. And someone who I feel like, we keep seeing him grow as a player, not just as a trash talker, is C.J. Gardner Johnson.
I
think he's grown as a coverage guy. I mean, his numbers, I do a cheat sheet every week on The Athletic and chronicle his numbers week by week by week. And his passer rating against him has gone down and down and down. And his pass defenses have gone up. And so he is certainly an asset. Like, you need him out there, just like you need Marcus Williams out there. His game has improved big time the last few weeks. We talk a lot about the pass rush. Those two guys have been really good, and you need those guys, especially once you hit the playoffs, when you're facing top quarterbacks every week.
It's something that they've had all this success on defense, and yet the way they started the year, man, if you would have ever told me that they would get to the point now that they've gotten to, it was hard to see. Not impossible, but definitely hard to see, and yet here they are. How scary can this Saints team actually be when they are finally all healthy together?
You saw Tampa. That's how scary. They play like that, they're beating anybody, and it's like they're running roughshod. And you've got to hope that they can replicate that. And remember, in that game, it's not like Michael Thomas was. I'm trying to even remember. I don't even think did he play? I mean, he might have played. That might have been like his first game back after the suspension. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
I think he was out there for that game, but
he
wasn't much of a. I mean,
right, he wasn't much of a threat because Breeze was still playing and they hadn't really had a big game together. And so when you look at it in that sense, they were like, if they play like that, they can beat anybody. I mean, I just think Tom Brady is basically Drew Brees back there, and quarterbacks that they're going to be facing down the line, I mean, you can rattle them off who can actually get out of, wiggle out of stuff, get out inside the pocket, talk Aaron Rodgers, you can talk Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray. In the AFC, you're talking Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and, people like that who are Super Bowl contenders. So, the defense needs to play top notch, but, when they're at their best, and that was at Tampa, no one's stopping them. So they have that in them. There's no doubt.
He did play. He had 5 catches off 6 targets for 51 yards. Did Michael Thomas in that game against Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
Larry Holder is our guest. The Athletic on Twitter at Larry Holder. Couple more for you, Larry. Pro Bowl came out. 2 very notable snubs for the Saints. Trey Hendrickson, not a Pro Bowler, even though he's leading the league in sacks, and Demario Davis. It seems like the snubs always get more of the talk than the guys who actually made the Pro Bowl. But what did you make of the Pro Bowl honorees from the New Orleans Saints?
Bona fide snubs, there's no doubt about it. You could throw in Ryan Ramczyk. All he was all-pro last year. So was Demario Davis, all-pro. But you look at the guys that made it. I mean, people are certainly going to circle Andres Pete. How does he keep making it? And, look, I'm hard on Andres Pete because I expect him to be better than he is. But comparably, look, he's not a bad player. I think we just zero in on him because we expect him to be Jari Evans, and he's just not. So in that sense, that's why he gets a hard time. But Cam Jordan, look, he made it by reputation too. So, Trey Hendrickson should have easily swapped out with him. And yet, but it's almost like Cam Jordan's making a Pro Bowl for one he probably deserved down, before that and didn't make. So I'm okay with that. But, I think 5 sounds about right. But you look at the 2 snubs, Hendrickson and Demario Davis. I mean, those to me are obvious. I would expect Demario Davis to be an All-Pro again. And that, to me, carries more weight than the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would say. Go by the All-Pros. Don't go by the Pro Bowl because sometimes the best players in the Pro Bowl, they don't even participate in the actual game. It's just there. It's not actually – it doesn't really mean anything. One more before we get you out of here, Larry. Give me a quick glance at the matchup with the Falcons, the Vikings this Friday on Christmas Day, 2:30 in the Dome. Normally a tough matchup for the Saints, but man, this Vikings defense they cannot rush the passer at all.
That is the one thing you need to have a little sigh of relief if you're a Saints fan. There is no Danielle Hunter. There's no Everson Griffin. And like I said, I'm working on my cheat sheet now, and I break down the pass rushers, this, that, and the other. It's a bunch of guys you never heard of. And, they're not major threats. You probably recognize Yannick Ngakoue just because he was with Jacksonville and was pretty good. But, he's their biggest threat, and he hasn't been great. And so, they don't even have Anthony Barr playing. He's been out for almost the entire year. So this is not the same sort of unit that you can be playing. But boy, Dalvin Cook is a man. He can run it any direction. You got to be aware of that. And of course, we know Justin Jefferson very well. I think Saints fans and Dennis Allen, they're going to have to keep a good close eye on Cousins getting the ball to Jefferson.
He's Larry Holder, the athletic Larry Holder, on Twitter at Larry Holder. Larry, I appreciate you stopping by and joining me today, man.
All right, Musso. I enjoyed this conversation.
Well,
all right, it's better than all right, Larry, you got 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, no, see, I'm not going to put the clamps on you, Larry. I'm here for all the information that you have for me and for the listening audience.
There you go, buddy. All right, great talking to you, man. I'm sure we will talk again soon, but just in a different setting, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Thanks, Larry.
Bye, buddy. See ya.
It's Larry Holder, theathletic.com. Larry Holder on Twitter at Larry Holder. Grab a quick break, come back, go around the SEC, and my goodness, Auburn may never hire a football coach. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you haven't done it yet, call River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001. I give you this number every day. 752-0001. Punch it in your phone. 752-0001. Do it right now. 752-0001. 752-0001. Man, I hear Moscona talk about the heater tune-up thing all the time. Is it really legitimate? Yes. I do this at my home every year. It's the seasonal maintenance. I was sitting at lunch last week with Matt and Paul over at River City's 1 hour air. They went for a heater safety check at someone's home, and the bottom part of the furnace was starting to get black from where it was being charred. Like it was a legitimate fire threat. Like, don't let this happen at your house. Don't assume it's okay. It's $97. They'll come out, they'll check your furnace to make sure it's okay, your home central heater. They'll also make it run more efficiently. It'll last longer. It'll save you money. Call River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001. Where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
$14,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford Expedition XLT. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who, without being asked, shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community? We believe that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust.
So, if you know someone that sounds like what Jordy was just describing, nominate them to be your good citizen, and they'll have a chance to win $500 from Citizens Bank and Trust. Plus, we'll mention him right here on the show. So go to citizensbankandtrust.com for more details and nominate your good citizen.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This is a house call.
This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Toyotathon is happening right now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Get into a 20 Camry for $297 a month. Come on down to Happy Town for Toyotathon. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
South Point Volkswagen, on the lot, online, southpointvw.com. Awesome time to go buy. You know that. You probably know the best time to buy a vehicle is at the end of the month. The best time to buy a vehicle is at the end of the year because quotas have to be met and you got to move inventory. And this is the time if you want to make a deal at South Point Volkswagen. Sign then drive is on. New, certified, pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com. Sign then drive. 0 down, 0 to its signing. No first month's payment, no security deposit. You basically sign your name and you're driving away in a brand new vehicle. Awesome time right now with the holidays here and Christmas. South Point Volkswagen. southpointvw.com. What's your direction?
Halfway through the first hour here of After Further Review on this Tuesday. Show is presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Matt Musso sitting in for Matt Moscona once again. We'll be back here again on Wednesday, and then we will head out for our own Christmas break as well. 4-day weekend. Can't go wrong with that. I'm actually looking very much forward to it.
You're in the building more than me now.
It's
I think
a lot.
you've surpassed.
It's a lot. I'm here. You get here earlier than I do, though.
Yeah.
Because your show goes on an hour before Off the Bench does.
Yeah, I roll in at 4:30.
Yes,
so...
I wake up at 4:30.
Okay.
So you've got me there, but I have not gone home very much.
I get to cut out and go to the gym in the midday.
The three of us are here a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the thing is, you never know Paul O'Neill's here because he's glued to the seat.
And he doesn't say anything.
Well, there's that as well.
He doesn't even make a peep ever.
Yeah.
So, but hey, back-to-back 4-day weekends coming up too, because New Year's Eve.
Bro, I'm out after tomorrow. I'm out after tomorrow.
Look, see, this guy's on vacation. Gotta get me one of those one day. I don't really know what that is. Right now, we're going to go around the SEC, and then we will talk about Auburn's coaching search. But first, Brain, around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Florida Gators.
Uh-oh, Dan Mullen. Florida football program has been put on probation for 1 year, and Coach Dan Mullen has been given a 1-year show cause penalty for violations of recruiting rules. The NCAA announced on Tuesday. The release from the NCAA states that Mullen, along with an unnamed assistant coach, had impermissible in-person contact with a prospect at the recruit's high school. Oh, the horror. The NCAA also found that Mullen sent text messages to the student-athlete about the high school visit, meaning that this wasn't just a case of the coaches bumping into the student. Other penalties dealt to Florida include a $5,000 fine, a 7-day off-campus recruiting ban for the entire staff in the spring of 2021, and one-on-one rules education for Mullen and the unnamed assistant coach. Also stated in the release is that any punishment that isn't able to be administered due to COVID-19 protocols will be served at the next available date.
The Auburn Tigers.
Another day, another swing and a miss in the Auburn coaching search. Brent Venables, Clemson defensive coordinator, has turned that job down in order to remain the Clemson defensive coordinator. Auburn and Venables met on Monday, according to AL.com. The seriousness of those conversations is disputed. However, not disputed is that Dabo Swinney will have his defensive coordinator in tow as they prepare for yet another trip to the college football playoff.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
And redshirt sophomore quarterback TJ Shrout has informed the Tennessee staff he plans to enter the transfer portal. Shrout, a former 3-star prospect out of California, saw time as part of a 2-quarterback system in the Vols' last 3 games, along with Harrison Bailey. That's after Bailey took over the starting job for Jared Garantano. Shrout played in 4 games total, however, for Tennessee in 2020, throwing for 315 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and added 27 yards on the ground. That is today's Around the SEC, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. Auburn missed again. It's tough sledding on the plains right now for the Auburn Tigers and their athletic administration, who is trying to hire a head coach after firing Gus Malzahn 9 days ago. And the list of candidates that they have gone through in that time is lengthy. It includes anybody from Mario Cristobal at Oregon, who got a new extension out of it. So congratulations, Mario. New 6-year extension. Lane Kiffin's name has been thrown around and associated with this job, even though he hasn't really formally been interviewed. No reports of that nature. University of Louisiana Lafayette coach Billy Napier was interviewed. Auburn apparently loved him a lot. He turned down the job. UAB's head coach Bill Clark, who we told you about yesterday, was interviewed. Auburn, again, liked him a lot. Not. He turned down the job. Now Brent Venables has turned down the job. Steve Sarkisian from Alabama had an interview and then said, no, I'm good. I'll stay here with Nick Saban. Another Clemson assistant, their offensive coordinator, Tony Elliott, has been linked to this job and subsequently turned it down. So that leads you to believe, man, there's something going on there at Auburn. Why does nobody want this job? Auburn is a good job. You can win at Auburn. Other coaches have won at Auburn. Gus Malzahn, the guy you just fired, was about 20 seconds away from winning the national championship at Auburn in his first year. The guy he served as offensive coordinator for, Gene Chizik, did win a national championship at Auburn. So what's going on? Well, what's being reported now is that the brass at Auburn is trying to mandate that the new coach keep members of the current staff, specifically the defensive staff, including defensive associate head coach and defensive line coach Rodney Garner, and possibly even defensive coordinator Kevin Steele. That creates a lot of problems for a lot of different reasons. Steele is in year 1 of a 3-year contract for $2.5 million. That makes him the highest paid assistant in college football. That also means that if Kevin Steele must leave Auburn, he's owed a buyout. Auburn's paying $21 million for Gus Malzahn to sit at home and not coach. They don't really want to add Kevin Steele's buyout on top of that. Now, if I am a prospective head coach looking at Auburn, interviewing at Auburn, considering taking the job at Auburn, I'm not a fan of that for a lot of reasons. For one, what if I don't want Kevin Steele on my staff because he's not the defensive coordinator I want to have? What if his scheme doesn't fit what I want for my team? Obviously, that's one reason. The other reason is Kevin Steele has openly lobbied for this job and also behind closed doors, and there's plenty of big money people within Auburn who have openly lobbied for Kevin Steele to get the job. Why would I want a guy on my staff who believes he should be the head coach and not me? Auburn's going to have to budge somewhere, and they need to hire a coach fairly soon. The recruiting class already suffered, and the closer you get through to the February signing period, you don't have a coach. You're coming up on a holiday season. If you don't get a coach in before then, it stands to reason that you might not get a coach in place until after the holiday season is over. Anyway, it is worth noting that sources have said if Auburn provides a little bit more responsibility with the job, a little more leeway for guys, to pick their own staff, they could circle back to Bill Clark as another candidate, as well as possibly including Liberty head coach and former Ole Miss head coach Hugh Freeze, who I'm sure will eventually just turn down the job and not go coach at Auburn because that's the trendy thing to do. You have people in the Auburn administration comparing this to the Tennessee coaching search a few years ago. Don't know if it's quite on that level of bad yet, but if Auburn doesn't watch it, they will be in that company, and that's not really the company you want to be in. Everybody always wants to fire your coach. Let this serve as yet another lesson as to why that might not always be the answer. The grass, they say, is not always greener on the other side. Grab a quick break, come out and close out the hour. The All-SEC teams are announced. Who from LSU landed on those, and why one player who landed on the All-SEC team got snubbed for a national award. We'll tell you all about that next here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery since 1955. I tell you every day. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery. Man, Clegg's caters to basically every different type of gardener. You got the retiree, the people that love to get in their garden every day. You got the weekend gardener. Maybe it's like the Saturday, you don't have anything scheduled. The yard doesn't look good, so get it done. You maybe have money to spend, but you don't have a ton of time. And then you got people like me who don't know anything they're doing, so you need the expertise and the people to help you try to make your yard look like yard of the month, but you don't have time to do it. Clegg's Nursery has the people there and all the products and the selection to help your yard look like yard of the month. What I would encourage is don't be intimidated. If you're not sure what to do, they're so friendly and helpful. Just walk in and ask any of their horticulturists or any of their staff members to help you. Take a picture of your yard, maybe some ideas what you want to do. They got a great, helpful staff at Clegg's Nursery.
Toyotathon is happening right now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Get into a 20 Camry for $297 a month. Come on down to Happy Town for Toyotathon. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana, call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
It's official now. LSU has released a statement. Steve Ensminger and Bill Johnson will both transition into analyst roles, with the Tigers not returning to their on-field positions next year. In a statement put out by the university, Coach O says, "Steve gave everything he had to LSU, and I will always cherish the time we spent coaching together. Steve treated everyone on the staff and the players on our team like family. He bleeds purple and gold. I don't know of a better LSU man." It was a fantastic run for Steve Ensminger alongside Ed Ogeron. He was the interim offensive coordinator when O took over for Les Miles. He spent 1 year back at tight ends coach, and then Coach O immediately put him in as the offensive coordinator. It was the guy Coach O wanted from the start to be his offensive coordinator. Steve Ensminger led LSU's offense, honestly, to great success and never took any of the credit for it, never wanted any of the credit for it. He always was about propping up the players and propping up the other coaches around him, including Joe Brady. And the combination and the mesh of those two guys it just worked flawlessly. And that was something that LSU was looking to replicate this year with Scott Linehan and Steve Ensminger, and quite frankly, it just didn't work. On Bill Johnson, in the same statement, Coach O released and says, "Bill is an outstanding football coach and a tremendous man. I have a great respect for Bill and the job he did teaching and developing our players. He stepped in and made an immediate impact with our defensive linemen 2 years ago, and I will always appreciate his dedication to the LSU Tigers." So it has now been made official by LSU. Steve Ensminger, offensive coordinator, and defensive line coach Bill Johnson will retire from their on-field coaching positions and transition into analyst roles with the Tigers. We'll have much more on the LSU staff shakeup with Brody Miller in about 8 minutes or so here on AFR. But today, the All-SEC teams and the 2020 SEC Football Awards were announced. LSU, despite having a down year, still well represented on both of these, on all of the All-SEC lists. Lands 2 on the first team, Derek Stingley Jr., defensive back, and kicker Cade York. LSU landed 2 more on the All-SEC second team, defensive end Ali Gay and punter Zach Von Rosenberg. And where you might expect LSU to have the most players on the award list, they do. The all-freshman team, SEC. Tight end Eric Gilbert, wide receiver Keyshawn Butte. Butte also listed as the return specialist for the all-freshman team. Defensive end BJ Ojolari and cornerback Elias Ricks, who led the SEC in interceptions. Awards, Offensive Player of the Year went to Devontae Smith for Alabama because, of course, it did. He deserves it. Defensive Player of the Year went to Patrick Surtain of Alabama. I guess he deserved that too. Special Teams Player of the Year went to Jake Camarda of Georgia, and I think we can all agree that probably should have gone to Zach Von Rosenberg or Cade York. And which brings me to the Lou Groza Award. Also, wait, one more note on the All-SEC teams. Mac Jones got first team quarterback, and I believe that should have been Kyle Trask. So anytime you have a problem with all whatever teams, all-American teams, and everybody always asks, well, if you take that guy off, who do you replace him with? Well, I replaced Mac Jones with Kyle Trask because his numbers were far and away better. It's just that, Mac Jones plays for Alabama. So he's on the best team. Quarterback from the best team gets it, and I don't like that all the way. So, now, back to the Lou Groza finalists. They are announced today. There's a glaring omission, as you might imagine. There's no Cade York. The Lou Groza finalists are Jake Oldroyd from BYU, Jose Borregales from Miami, kid's a unit, and Will Reichard from Alabama. How is the guy who kicked the longest field goal in school history, who was 8 of 10 on the season from 40 or longer, including 6 field goals of 50-plus yards, not a finalist for the award that goes to the best kicker in the country? When he was named the first-team kicker in his own conference, yet the guy who wasn't named first-team kicker in his own conference from Alabama, Will Reichard, is a finalist for the award? That's a terrible snub. Terrible, terrible snub. What are we doing? Guess there's always next year for Cade York. Don't really know what he has to do next year to outdo. Oh, by the way, he went 4 for 4 in a monsoon on Saturday, following up the 57-yard game winner, longest field goal in everybody's in school history. All right, we're going to grab a quick break. Brody Miller, The Athletic, next, talking LSU staff changes.
AFR.
Brought to you by GMFS Mortgage and GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. That's our friends at GMFS Mortgage and GMFSmortgage.com. We're talking about changing your life financially. And right now, because of the COVID crisis, the Fed has lowered interest rates to historic levels. Literally, they've never been this low. There are people who bought or built a home within the last year or two that have been able to refinance at a lower rate, lowering their monthly mortgage payment, lowering their interest rate, and lowering and saving thousands over the life of their mortgage. Think about that. All the interest that you'd pay over the life of your mortgage, if you can cut that number by thousands. Refinance, change your life today, GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. Home buy, refi, construction loans, they do it all at GMFS Mortgage. Online, GMFS Mortgage.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
You may not know about the 4Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4 kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. Superstar Kevin Durant's much-anticipated Nets regular season debut takes place against the Warriors on this opening night in the NBA. This season, Durant, coming off a ruptured Achilles, will remind everybody how great he is, explains ESPN's Kirk Goldsberry.
The guy is arguably the best scorer in the world. All eyes will be on him to see if he's 90, 95% of himself. Because if he is anywhere near what he was before his injury, this guy immediately becomes an MVP candidate and propels the Nets to contender status.
Kirk Goldsberry with Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti. Then at 9:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, the Lakers begin their NBA title defense against the Clippers. The Washington football team has reached a $1.6 million settlement with a former team employee who accused owner Dan Snyder of sexual misconduct in 2009. Snyder and the team have denied any wrongdoing. Paul Pierce, Doug Collins, Michael Cooper, and Lauren Jackson headline the group of first-time nominees for the 2021 Basketball Hall of Fame. The entire class will be unveiled during the NCAA Final Four in April.
Hey, this is Keyshawn Johnson, wishing you a happy and safe holiday season full of good food and family. Thank you for listening to Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin this past year and also in 2021.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour two of After Further Review. Matt Musso sitting in for Matt Moscona. The brain on the ones and twos.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
Paul O'Neill on the threes and fours.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Getting set to visit with Brody Miller of The Athletic. Talk about staff changes at LSU. It's been a fast and furious couple of days. Lee Feinswag will join us at 4:15, and Rohan Davey will be in his normal spot in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Right now, welcome on Brody Miller, theathletic.com, Al on Twitter at Brody A. Miller. Brody, thank you for joining me.
Absolutely, Musso. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you? Busy, I imagine.
Yeah, busy. Yeah, vacation starts when this is all over, so hopefully soon.
Oh, God, I hope it wasn't supposed to start this week before this happened.
Well, I do head to Indiana to see family for Christmas tomorrow, but I have a gut feeling I'll be working over that time.
Over the holiday. It's been a busy 2 days. Let's just start from the beginning. Timeline of events. How did we get to where we are right now?
Yeah, it's a great question because I'm sure there are a few different answers you could get because I have a gut feeling most of us, I think Bo Pelini's fate was probably to some extent sealed as far back as, I don't know, the Missouri game, week 3, when it became clear this defense was just going to be a problem this year. I think this was always going to be the situation there. I think it was pretty clear at that point that, Pelini wasn't going to make it hard for them, and it was kind of understood. But as for the others, yeah, I think there was a meeting Sunday where, Orgeron spoke to most of the coaches who are no longer on staff and kind of sent the rest home, and he talked to them, planned out, and then Monday had another staff meeting. But yeah, it's tricky. I think every one of these cases is a little different. I think, for Steve Ensminger, for example, I know there's been a lot of confusion today over the reports that he's out as offensive coordinator, but Steve Ensminger was not fired, for example. He, for all indications I have heard, was told that he could still be the offensive coordinator if he wants to be the offensive coordinator. And, I think he's contemplated retirement several times in the last few years. And then Obviously, he's had a really tough year with his daughter-in-law, Carly McCord, passing, and then his father died a few months ago, so I think he's just kind of worn down in that sense, and I think he was ready to transition into an analyst role. So I think all of these are different, right? But to answer your question, they technically happened in the last, 48, 72 hours, but they've probably all been in the works for a few weeks now.
With Steve Ensminger, to that note, and with Bill Johnson, is there any insight as to what their potential off the field role will be as an analyst? What analyst role they might slide into?
With Ensminger in particular, I would almost point to, what George Munoz was the last, 2 or 3 years before he went off to Baylor. I mean, George Munoz was clearly kind of the top analyst. He was kind of if we're being honest, the wink quarterback coach at times for Joe Burrow. Obviously, analysts cannot directly work with players, but in a lot of ways he was. I think that's a lot of it where, hey, you are not a coordinator, but you are very involved in strategy and planning and all those kind of things, watching film and making up the scheme parts of the offense. You might not be, literally coaching players or literally calling plays. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. I think a lot of that is, they're still figuring out, but I wouldn't be surprised at all for that. And same for Bill Johnson. I imagine he will be, the right-hand man to whoever that defensive line coach becomes.
So we have 5 coaches now who have been transitioned into other roles or parted ways with the university. That's going to bring in issues of money when you have that many buyouts or retirements. It's a COVID year. You've already had coaches and athletic administrators at LSU take pay cuts. It seems that there's a bit of a strict budget placed on what they can give to buyouts and what they can give to the new coaches they hire. How do they make the money work right now over there?
Yeah, it's an area where I'll admit, I think I don't have a fantastic answer there. But, I will say this. I don't believe the Bo Pelini, I think, for example, Bo Pelini, like I said earlier, he didn't make things hard on him. Let's put it that way. I don't know what the number's going to be. I still haven't figured that out, and I'm sure that will come out in the coming hours or days. But I don't necessarily believe he, for example, we know that he is not, they're doing a one-time payment instead of, the overall liquidated things over the next 2 years. I think that might be a smidge smaller than we know of. I think, I'm pretty sure every one of these contracts also has a, offset salary that if they get a job at another level, that gets taken out of their buyout too. So Scott Linehan, for example, he is expected to land in the NFL in some capacity. Bill Bush, he might not make as much money, but I do not think he will have any trouble finding a good job. So a lot of these won't be as bad as you think. But still, I still have to say, of course, there's still a big buyout in place for Bo Pelini. And yeah, I don't think Ed Ogeron and LSU are going to have the same budget that they would have any other year. First off, the capital's gone and just kind of the leash is kind of a little bit shorter, I'm sure. 2, obviously the university is in a tough spot. President Tom Galligan has estimated as much as $80 million in losses, and honestly, I think it might be worse than that. So for a lot of reasons, but then I always like to point out in these situations that, this isn't the NFL with a salary cap, and it's here's how much you have. This isn't like a literal budget. We all know with coaching hires, it really is coming in from donors and guys throwing money in there to hire who they need to. So it's not like it's not like they only have X amount of dollars in their budget. I think it's I think it's LSU, and they will have money to make some big hires. We already know, which I'm sure we'll get to, some of the big fish they're going to go for that are going to cost a pretty penny. So do I think they have the same amount of capital they might have had a year ago to make any hire they want? No, but I don't think they're necessarily going to be just short on money.
Brody Miller is our guest, covers LSU for The Athletic. So we have 5 moves. Can we expect any more in the coming days?
No, I wouldn't expect any more, on-staff moves in the coming days. I think obviously you're always going to expect some analyst moves and whatnot every offseason because no analyst is there for life. So I'm sure you'll see things like that. You obviously have to watch, a Russ Callaway, for example, who obviously was a lead analyst this year, pretty much replaced George Munoz, and they think really highly of him. So I am just curious. I'm not reporting this, but I am just curious if they find a role for him in any one of those open roles on offense. But other than that, in terms of on-field moves, I don't expect much. I think you have to keep an eye on offensive line coach James Craig. I think, he's got some big recruiting battles coming up in the coming weeks. Tristan Lee, of course, is the big one. So I think they want to see what he does and all that. But I don't know if he's necessarily in the safest ground he'll ever be in. So I think something could possibly happen there in the coming weeks, or maybe he can really, do what we're saying and secure his job. But he'd be the only one left to watch. I think everyone else it should be pretty safe.
One more before we get you out of here, Brody. When you have all this staff turnover, obviously the next question is who replaces guys you just got rid of. So any potential names you're hearing to consider for the jobs, really mainly of defense, of the two coordinator spots, defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator?
Yeah, offense, I'll be honest, I actually really don't have anyone yet. But defensively, I mean, I do think they're going to, I've been told several times, they are going to take their time on that one. For example, a lot of the main people they would go for are still coaching, for the next few weeks. So I don't think anything's going to happen imminently there. But yeah, I mean, I also think LSU, like we said, this isn't news, right? They knew this was probably happening for a little while. And one LSU source put it to me that, hey, last year they were at the end of the cycle. They were coming in late because of the national championship and all that. So they were really coming at the end of the available people to go for. Well, this year that is not the case. They are coming in relatively early on it. They are able to attack some of these things early. So sure, I think, they're going to look at the Marcus Freemans of the world at Cincinnati. He's probably the highest priority defensive, coordinator period in college football right now. So of course he's a top one, great recruiter, great coach, all those things. You always want to look at your Jim Leonards and whatnot, but I will just always point out that those guys, they might get head coach offers soon. I don't know if they're going to leave really, really good jobs to go be, assistants at another school. So I don't know how likely those are. And then obviously there's the usual suspects of the coordinator world that you definitely have to watch. Will Muschamp is of course the one everyone's going to throw out there. And yeah, and I'm not saying that's something that's going to happen, but of course that's one to watch. And then honestly, just to chuck one out there not on reporting, Kevin Steele at Auburn, of course, one of the better defense coordinators, didn't have a great time at LSU, of course, but who knows if he's going to want to rub it to Auburn and go to LSU or something like that. But anyway, these are all just names I'm suggesting, and I think it's very early in the process.
An interesting note with Kevin Steele is that would solve Auburn's problem a little bit as well, that they're having by trying to convince people to keep him on staff. So that would solve their problem there. Brody, we appreciate your time, man. Y'all follow him on Twitter at Brody A. Miller, covers LSU for The Athletic. Thanks for stopping by, man. You have a Merry Christmas and enjoy the trip home.
I appreciate that, man. Happy holidays to you.
Thank you. That is Brody Miller, theathletic.com, at Brody A. Miller on Twitter. Get over there and read his stuff. He also hosts a podcast with T-Bob if you want to listen to that, the Hold That podcast. And we definitely appreciate him shining some insight on the busy couple of days at the LSU football facility. Right now, we'll grab our first break of the second hour, come back, talk with Lee Feinswag. He'll give you a nice beer to go out and buy and try as well. He'll give his thoughts on the LSU staff changes. And will LSU ever play basketball again? We'll ask Lee next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. As we head toward 2021, people are going to have New Year's resolutions. Big part of your New Year's resolutions might be getting your financial house in order. A big part of that could very well be Insurance Network of Louisiana. We all have to have insurance. We all budget for it as well. You have your auto insurance, your homeowner's insurance. Remember, maybe it's a camp or a RV or a bike or something like that. We all have to pay our insurance, and too many of us are overpaying and or underinsured and don't know about it. Like, I was that for many years. I had the same coverage with State Farm that I had when I first started driving. Never knew I needed to increase my coverage because my liability went up. How would I know that? I'm not an insurance expert. Insurance Network of Louisiana shopped, increased my coverage, quadrupled my coverage, and saved me $1,600 a year. Stop overpaying to be underinsured. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana. 293-0450.
$14,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford Expedition XLT. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community without being asked? We think that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust. If you know someone who exhibits all of these qualifications, nominate them for a Good Citizen Award, and they could receive $500 from Citizens Bank. And we'll recognize them here on the show. Get the details at citizensbankandtrust.com, and then nominate your good citizen.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Toyotathon is happening right now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Get into a 20 Highlander for $4,600 off MSRP. Come on down to Happy Town for Toyotathon. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Welcome back in. After further review, Musso sitting in for Matt Moscona, but that does not mean that we still can't talk to the host of Sports 225, Lee Feinswag. Lee, how are you?
Wait, I thought Moscona sat in for you.
No, that's no, it's not how it works. It's not how it works.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm good.
Maybe,
I'm good.
maybe one day, but not right now.
One day. When we get to it at the end of the segment, I got a wonderful beer. Oh my God.
Me and the listening audience expects nothing less from you, Lee. That it's only wonderful beers.
And even knowing that Moscona wouldn't be there and you would, I don't want you to think I shirked my duties this week of trying different beers. And I tried some good ones, but the one that I picked out,
The research you do is appreciated by all. That's a lot of hours.
Well, I don't drink as much as you would think, but I do sample a lot of beers.
Well, before we get to the beers,
Can I say something about LSU football coaches?
Please, that's exactly where I was going.
Okay. So it's okay for LSU in its news releases to say that LSU and Bo Pelini agree to part ways because they're PR people and that's what they're supposed to say. But Bo Pelini was fired. And sports writers should say he was fired. Now, he's going to get a nice buyout, and he's had some other nice buyouts along the way. And I would hope that Bo has managed his money well and doesn't need too much of it, and probably will coach again, I'm sure. But they didn't part ways. He was fired. Thank you. I feel better now.
Okay. That's like a lot of people who are taking issue with saying players opted out in the month of November.
Yeah, right. I went on that rant last week.
Oh, see?
You either redshirt or because for whatever reason, or you're going to get shut down because of injuries, or you quit.
Look, I'm with you. The opting out was at the beginning of when you actually opted out of the season.
Right.
Once you started the season, there's only one way. But hey, it's your choice. You make the choice that's right for you, and we can just disagree on what to call it. So here's a question I do have for you actually about the staff turnover at LSU right now. Can you ever recall seeing a coach that's not, taking a job somewhere, like a sitting head coach, just overhaul their staff so much in the offseason?
No, this is unprecedented in terms of the numbers, the volume, and it became apparent, I guess, through the season that, the Bo Pelini situation wasn't working out with him as defensive coordinator. And Steve Ensminger has certainly paid his dues. And if he wants to get out and take it down a notch, he's had a fantastic resume. One of the great guys, too, by the way. I don't know Coach Johnson, but he's, if he wants to become an analyst, the football coaching profession, they all pride themselves on trying to outwork each other because they all know the same stuff, and they all come from the same pod, if you will. And a couple guys get lucky and get their super high-paying jobs, but they all want to outwork each other, and it's a grind. You always hear the stories about the guys who sleep on their couches, and work 20 hours a day, and the sacrifices that they make. And it's a long, hard grind. I think that they're the smartest coaches might be the guys who settle in at a D3 and really have fun careers.
It's just, it's incredible to see it happen and to see it happen the year after winning a national championship.
Yeah, but I don't know. You can talk about all the coaching that you want, but this was a player issue. They lost a ton of great players, a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback, a once, in a every few years kind of receiver, ducks out right before the season begins. All those guys who went to the NFL, they just didn't have the horses. Their players weren't good enough. And then at the end of the season, you got to admire the way the young ones played. Super stuff from the young kids, and all that bodes well for them in the future.
Absolutely. You've seen the foundation laid now. We were talking about it earlier. They landed 4 on the All SEC freshman team.
Yeah.
It's just
so right. Foundation laid might be strong. LSU still has a long way to go. It needs an offensive line for next year to be able. And speaking of which, one of the key running backs now in the portal. And the portal is going to be chock full. The season's ending. The kids are going to go home. They're going to see their parents, their high school coaches, their old friends, and not just LSU players all over the country. And the NCAA said, go ahead, transfer. You got no penalties. Just go. And plus you get the year. So it could be, if you're a sports writer trying to track these things over the course of the next 6 weeks or so, I bet you're going to be really, really busy. It's not just going to be coaches. But back to the original point, there's a nice core of good young players. One thing this has plagued LSU for 2 decades, minus a couple of years, is who's going to be the quarterback, because there wasn't anybody good enough. Now it looks like you might have a few quarterbacks who are good enough and young enough. And there are worse things than having good young quarterbacks having to fight with each other for the job.
It was flipped on its head this year at LSU. Normally, they're the defensive team that runs the football, and they don't have the quarterback. This year, they couldn't play really a lick of defense, and they struggled running the football, but they rotated 3 quarterbacks in there that all played pretty well. 2020 has been incredible.
Some of the scores that the LSU football team was involved in, starting with losing the first game to Mississippi State, which set all sorts of records, 44-34.
Yeah.
Right? 2 weeks later, losing at Missouri, 45-41. Yeah. Beating South Carolina 52-24. Then giving up 48 to Auburn.
Yeah.
And then, giving up 55 to Alabama. And then beating Florida 37-34 in a wild game. By the way, Florida at least plays all of its games right to the very end, doesn't it?
Yeah, they do.
And then this past week, which was an absolutely horrible football game with the Ole Miss game. It was really the ineptitude on both teams was incredible. And LSU wins 53-48 in what was an incredibly fun game to watch. That was must-watch TV from start to finish. I enjoyed it immensely, but I kept saying to myself, "My gosh, this is brutal." There are a couple times this is brutal.
Oh, there wasn't a lick of defense to be found anywhere in that game. But
no.
While we're on the subject about that, you got a thought on Kayshon Boutte just breaking records, SEC and LSU single game records?
He's really good, and to talk about a guy who stepped up and took advantage of his situation. All of a sudden, if I had told you that he would be going into the season, that he would be the man, you'd have said, now this was before anybody, quit the team and we knew what it was going to be. You would have said, what? And the group of receivers they've had last year and this year, wow, that's pretty strong stuff.
He's
really good.
He finished as LSU's leading receiver by 4 yards. After spending the majority of the season just as the guy they run the screen pass to, he finished the season as LSU's leading receiver. He passed up Terrace Marshall. It's just, I don't know, as long as I live and as long as I am around LSU football, that I will ever see a season that rivals this one, just in the realm of the oddities that happened.
Yeah, and it was but the thing that's fun, for me as just an observer, the games were fun to watch. They were just fun games to watch, even though a lot of times you were watching them going, the hell's going on out there?
I got to be honest, Lee, the Auburn and Alabama games were not fun to watch. I had zero fun watching those games.
Well, that's because you care who wins.
Okay, well, see, Mississippi State was not fun, Lee. I did not enjoy that game at all, if I'm being quite honest.
That game, if you recall back, if you didn't care who won that game, okay, just think about the ups and downs and the back and forth and how that game was exciting.
Okay,
you just didn't like how the game came out. LSU led that game. I want to say it was a tie game midway through on a Cade York field goal.
Yeah, they started forcing turnovers and they ended up getting a field goal that tied the game. But I mean, the very next drive, Mississippi State, I probably ran a crossing route and took it 75 yards to the end zone. One more on football, then we'll switch over to basketball, even though they haven't played in about 2 weeks. Quarterback position. Did you have a favorite of the guys? Did one guy stick out more to you than the other two?
Well, no, because just different circumstances for these guys. Like Miles Brennan, before he got hurt, he put up great numbers. Remember T.J. Finley's first game? Everybody thought he was the next coming,
right?
And and he was nice. And Max Johnson's really poised. 2 bits of trivia for you that. Because that guy who fills in for you sometimes, who's not there today, loves it when I bring up volleyball. But both Miles Brennan and Max Johnson's mothers were college volleyball players.
Oh.
Miles Brennan's mother played at Tulane, and Max Johnson's mother played at South Florida. And she left South Florida. Her name is Nikki Johnson, is one of the best players in their history at the time. Just so that you're a little bit of trivia of the day. But no, I think that, Johnson and Finley, I hope they're friends and that they work hard together and can make each other better. And you could see a wonderful situation because they're different, and it gives LSU lots of options. They both have wheels, although the sliding after a first down leaves a little bit to be desired. And they both have really nice arms and a sense of the game. Johnson grew up in the environment that he did, and it shows. And Finley was very impressive. I think that's one thing you don't have to worry about.
It's going to make
for college offensive lineman or something. It's which LSU needs a better offensive line.
Well,
you got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to protect the quarterback.
They need to start by convincing some of the guys currently on the team to come back. That would go a long way. LSU basketball. They've now had 4 games either postponed or canceled due to COVID, 3 in a row, as a matter of fact. They have rescheduled a game now with Texas Southern, coached by Johnny Jones, of all people, for Saturday. First of all, do you think they play that game?
Yeah, because Texas Southern's a drive. It's just a 4-hour drive from Houston. So it's one that they can pull off easily enough, provided both teams don't come up with a bunch of positive tests. And it's a good game for both of them. I mean, the 26th is Saturday, and that'll be 12 days after the last time LSU played, when they played Sam Houston State. And, of course, that was just the first game after December 6th. So between December 6th and December 26th, LSU will play one game. That's tough. Johnny Jones is in a great place at Texas Southern. It's a good job. Texas Southern's done a really nice job in the last couple of decades of upgrading facilities. It's a good university in Houston, and he's done a good job there. And it's kind of cool that he would be willing to bring his team here and come play. It's cool for both. It's cool for both programs. Johnny just had a tough go at LSU. I don't think anybody holds any ill will towards him, and I hope they don't, because he's a wonderful person.
And actually, they'll be coming off of a game that they had to cancel themselves. They had a game scheduled against USC that ended up going the way of the COVID. So this is
going to be, with the football season. The SEC did a fabulous job of pulling it off. The basketball season, as we've seen already, the country over, they're not playing in a bubble like the NBA and the NHL did. This is going to be really tough. And the vaccine's out, and it's not going to trickle down to college athletes for a while. They're taking care of frontline workers, older people. And so you're going to go through this whole basketball season probably without college athletes getting vaccinated. So you've got that. And then if there's a big surge after Christmas, like the medical experts predict, that will wreak havoc the nation over on college basketball. And that's too bad. It's just going to be tough. But I'm optimistic and hoping for the best.
Yeah, man, me too, because Will Wade, he's got a squad. They look pretty good so far. A lot of young talent. It's a good mix, good young core mixed with some veteran players on that team, and I'm really anxious to see what they can do out there on the floor.
Are you excited about the NBA starting?
Yes and no. I'll watch the Pelicans. They play tomorrow night against the Raptors, and I'll watch them. And I'll get more into the NBA after the NFL is over.
Yeah, I might watch Golden State Brooklyn tonight just because I want to see Golden State and see what they got, and they're always fun to watch. And then, of course, if Garrett Temple gets in for Brooklyn, I like watching that.
Absolutely.
I believe he's on Chicago now.
Who, Garrett Temple, Brain?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my bad. That's right. He went to the Chicago Bulls. Oh, and I know that.
You can still watch Curry. So I mean that's
they
always
play
fun.
tomorrow night against the Hawks. There you go.
Before we get to beer.
So it's Temple versus Mays.
Hey, Skylar Mays, yes. A lot of former Tigers. Before we get to the beer, got anything coming up on Sports 225 this week?
I haven't decided yet. Everything's different now. I can shoot a show in a hurry because we all do it by Zoom. I don't go to the studio anymore. I've got a few ideas, and I've also thinking, all right, well, the first airing is going to be Christmas Day and this week. So it's probably going to be what we call the best of.
Oh, hey, there you go. Why not?
But please go to sports225.com to check out what's on the show and check the air times and all the rest of that good stuff.
Okay. Now for what Lee really came here for. He's going to tell you about some beer.
And
what is the malted liquor? What gets you drunker quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer. Can't get enough of it. Beer. How we really love it. Beer. Makes me think I'm a man. Beer. I could kiss and hug it, but I'd rather chug it. Got my belly out to here. Beer. I could not refuse it. I could really use a beer. Beer.
Go for it.
So I told you I'd done some research on a couple of beers, and I thought I had one that I was going to put forth today. And then yesterday, my guy Ross from Crescent brought by a few, and one of them was Stagger Homeward Imperial Milk Stout from Great Raft Brewing up in Shreveport, which they've done some of my favorites lately. Reasonably Corrupt and a couple other beers. Reasonably Corrupt is a black lager. But this Stagger Homeward is an Imperial Milk Stout. Now, it's a 16-ounce can, and it's 10%. And I said to myself, Lee, this is probably not a pre-dinner drink, all right? So I went about my day, and I had a light dinner thinking this would be the dessert. Sometimes I'll say to myself, cocktail at night or dessert. This does both. This one is absolutely fantastic. It is like I said, a 10% Imperial Milk Stout, and they describe it as Stagger Homeward comes in at 10% ABV and is brewed with milk sugar for a chewy marshmallow sweetness. Rich roasty notes mingle with flavors of vanilla, dark fruit, and chocolate-covered cherries for a robust experience in every sip. I will tell you, I was so blown away. This was so good It is not for the timid, not at 10%. It's not like a milkshake, but it's definitely a filling beer. And so I recommend it strongly on many fronts, and it just tastes really good. And Stagger Homeward Imperial Milk Stout by Great Raft Brewing out of Shreveport. Who'd have thunk it?
Stagger
There you go.
Homeward. Everybody go pick you up a Staggered Homeward. Lee, I appreciate you stopping by and talking to me today, man. I really, really thank you for the conversation.
Great to hang out with you guys. We'll call you next week.
All right. That's Lee Feinswag. This is After Further Review, Tuesday Show's Insurance Network of Louisiana title sponsor. Grab a quick break, come back, and give you a first pass preview at the Saints and Vikings here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. You know, over the years that we've been able to talk about the Baton Rouge General, I've been able to share so many of the different services that they offer as they're expanding healthcare, like the Mako robot for knee replacement surgery, the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital, which is now reopened, the way that the Baton Rouge General has handled the response to COVID-19, reopening the emergency room at Mid-City, all of the express care locations that are doing a remarkable job getting people tested for COVID-19. It's all there for you at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Learn more, find locations, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org for emergency care, the Heart and Vascular Center. They deliver babies at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Maybe you just need to see a primary care physician if you don't have one or aren't happy with yours. The Baton Rouge General. Of course, cancer care as well. And they are exclusively partnered with the Mayo Clinic Care Network. brgeneral.org. Online, brgeneral.org.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about our friends over at Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com, 288-8138 or reliefwindows.com. I was so fired up to see this, man. Relief Windows just posted this news on all their social media. They are relocating their headquarters. Upcoming move for Relief Windows. They just bought a giant showroom in Ascension Parish. So they are going to be able to have a much larger showroom than their present one on Pennywood. The bottom line is, man, they've outgrown it. I mean, it's gorgeous what it is, but the way Relief Windows has grown to be the leader in the industry in this city and all of our state, they need it. Really excited about it coming soon. The future home of the corporate office and showroom of Relief Windows there in Ascension Parish. We'll tell you more. It's set to be opened around summer of 2021. Windows, doors, siding, you know where to go. It's Relief Windows. They are just the best. Windows, door, siding. Relief Windows and online at reliefwindows.com.
Interesting development comes across Twitter there during the break. Yahoo Sports' Pete Thamel tweets, source confirms that Larry Fedora is no longer the OC at Baylor. Also, source tells Yahoo that Baylor passing game coordinator George Munoz is no longer on staff. That would be George Munoz, who was formerly on LSU's coaching staff. That would be the same George Munoz that many people thought would be promoted to passing game coordinator at LSU once Joe Brady left for Carolina. That's the same George Munoz who was on the front row at the Heisman Trophy ceremony as a guest of Joe Burrow. Something to keep an eye on. George Munoz possibly candidate now again for LSU's vacant OC position. Who says no? Keep an eye on that, but the Saints are playing a football game. They're second in 6 days this Friday, and it's against the Minnesota Vikings. And the Minnesota Vikings have just recently been a pretty tough matchup for the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints, of course, a little banged up. Actually, they're kind of becoming a mash unit, if we're being quite honest with each other. And as you heard when we talked to Larry Holder, the injury report came out, and the Saints, Nick Easton, Traquan Smith, Andrews Pete, all non-participants in practice today. So if you don't have Traquan Smith, it's going to end up being the same receiving core you had out there against the Chiefs. But one interesting thing to note about the Vikings is they can't rush the passer. They have zero threat of a pass rush without Everson Griffin and without Daniil Hunter. In fact, the sack leader on the Minnesota Vikings, Yannick Ngakoue, doesn't even play for them anymore. And he still leads that team in sacks. He plays now for the Baltimore Ravens. If that's not already bad enough for the Minnesota Vikings, their injury report is also out. And their injury report is very, very, very lengthy. And it includes some key players to boot, including their leading tackler, linebacker, Eric Kendricks, who has been out for the last 3 games and was listed as a non-participant in practice on Tuesday. Tight end Kyle Rudolph, heard of that guy? He's pretty good. Also did not practice. He's missed the last 2 games with a foot injury. The list of did not practices grows even more. Running back Alexander Madison, he's out with a concussion. Linebacker Todd Davis, he's out with ribs. Linebacker Troy Dye, he's out with a concussion and a hamstring. Fullback CJ Ham, yeah, he's out. He didn't practice either with a quad. Defensive end Jalen Holmes, groin, he's out. And defensive tackle Armand Watts, ankle, also out. All of those guys have played for the Vikings this season. All of them have recorded some nice stat lines. Alexander Madison especially filling in for, not even really filling in, he did fill in for the one game that Dalvin Cook missed, but they've just kind of been a little bit of a two-headed monster back there. Also, players that were limited today in practice for the Minnesota Vikings. Cornerback Cameron Dantzler was limited because of a foot. Defensive tackle Jaylene Johnson. Jaylene Johnson limited with a knee. And, of course, now, so we said that Yankin was their leading sacker and doesn't even play for them anymore. Afidi Odingbo is their second leader in sacks, and he was limited in practice today with an ankle. So an already depleted pass rush for the Minnesota Vikings that's made up of guys you've really never heard of before is now being struck by the injury report. If I'm the Saints, pound Alvin Kamara. You should still be able to have plenty of success with Drew Brees as your quarterback against the Minnesota Vikings, even with Jared Cook in the practice squad out there, or Emmanuel Sanders in the practice squad out there as Drew Brees' receivers. Because the guy who leads their team in sacks doesn't play for them anymore. Their leading tackler has been on the shelf for 3 weeks and still is not practicing. And you have two days till the game. This is a game the Saints really can't let get away, man. This is one you should really, really win. You have a decided advantage on the offensive side of the ball. You have one of the best offensive lines in football, and that's even without your normal guys. That's without Andrus Peat being out there. That's without Nick Easton being out there. Cesar Ruiz played really well against the Chiefs, in all honesty. You didn't hear his name called very much. That's a good sign for an offensive lineman. We talked with Larry Holder about why maybe they haven't been able to get the run game going lately. This is the game to get the run game going. This is the game, feels like a get-right game for the Saints. And you can exercise a little bit of the demons, too. Brian, you gave me a tough look when I said that. You didn't like that.
No, that was 100% introspective, falling 1 point short of the fantasy football championship with Drew Brees. Going to be untouched this weekend.
Oh, so now he's going to go off.
Yeah.
And you needed him to do that last week. Okay.
Well, I needed Juju to not dance on Cincinnati's 50-yard line and then put up 3 catches for 15 yards and lose a fumble.
The Pittsburgh Steelers needed him to not do that as well because their offense is a dumpster fire right now.
I'm more worried about me.
I know. I'm just saying.
I'm more worried about
they're on the same. They'd agree with you on that.
Yes.
See if the Saints can use it as the get-right game that it is, because the advantage is decided in the favor of the black and gold. We will have much more on that game tomorrow before we get out of here for the Christmas break, as that game is being played on Christmas Day. Right now, we'll take our final break of the second hour, come back, and Brain will have Tigers and the Pros here on After Further Review.
AFR.
If you need dinner plans tonight, Ichiban, always a great option. Essen near Perkins. You know where they are, a little setback from the road. You see the arched entryway, the metal Japanese tree sculpture. It is magnificent. Dine in, carry out, or curbside takeaway. If you're still not ready to eat out at a restaurant, okay, they have curbside takeaway. You place your order online or call ahead. When you pull up, you call the number on the parking spot. They'll bring the order out to you right there. Essen near Perkins, conveniently located in the middle of Baton Rouge. So no matter where you are in Baton Rouge, you can get there quickly. That is Ichiban. And from our friends at Ichiban, their newest concept is Bo-Ru Ramen in Electric Depot on Government Street. This is authentic Japanese ramen. Y'all, don't think about that 50-cent ramen in a bag you used to get when you were in college. Every noodle, handmade at Bo-Ru. The broth takes 30 hours. This is an authentic Japanese experience. Bo-Ru Ramen.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Toyotathon is happening right now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Get into a 20 Highlander for $4,600 off MSRP. Come on down to Happy Town for Toyotathon. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
You may not know about the 4Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4Kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Back here on After Further Review, putting a button on hour number 2. Former Tiger quarterback Rohan Davey will join us at the top of the 5 o'clock hour in his normal spot. Get Ro's take on the coaching staff changes at LSU and get his take on each quarterback individually, see what he liked that each of them did differently and better than the other. But right now, Brain is going to tell you about all the Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Kentucky's Best Hemp. Find them online at kysbesthemp.com.
I don't know if I can tell you about all the Tigers in the pros. I mean, that would take some time. So
yeah, but you could.
Well, I could. We'd run up against the break.
Probably.
And we come back in and we interrupt Rohan.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to bump Rohan.
Here's what I'm narrowing down to. Is there are 4 LSU Tigers in the Pro Bowl.
Wow.
Those LSU Tigers are you saying wow, isn't that a high number or
no,
a low number?
I thought it would be more.
How about Jamal Adams?
Deserves it. Keeps the streak alive. Jamal Adams missed the first Pro Bowl, said never missing another one.
Yes. Tyrann Mathieu.
That one makes sense.
Tre'Davious White.
Absolutely.
Boy, DBU in that one,
yeah,
right?
Oh, man.
And then Sir Gritty of the North, Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
All right.
Where's Patrick
Where's the
Queen?
third leading tackler in the NFC, Devin White? He's not on the list.
Where's that guy?
Patrick Queen? He's not on the list. Neither of those fellas made the cut.
Where's Deion Jones?
Not on the list.
What about Russell Gage? He's had a surprise season. Where's Russell Gage?
No. Come on. Let's not go overboard here. I'm all about it as well, but Atlanta's third receiver is not going to get it done.
Hey. He's getting it done better than the top 2.
DJ Shark may have had a better year from start to finish.
Where's DJ Shark?
Well, so statistically, Nobody has a better argument right now than Devin White.
Yeah, the fact
Patrick Queen would be second.
I don't even think Devin White led the fan vote.
No, but
which is shocking.
If you run down the NFL's leading tackler or the NFC's leading tacklers, you got NFL's leading tacklers. You got Zach Cunningham, Jalen Smith, Devin White third. He's got 130 tackles on the year. He's got 8 sacks on the year. He's got 16 tackles for a loss on the year.
Still 2 games left.
I know.
Should have put Clyde in there too. Where's Clyde?
Good seasons, not Pro Bowl seasons. Let's not go overboard.
Pro Bowl's meaningless anyway. You should just be able to get in there for whatever you just be there.
NBA tips off tonight.
Yep.
You have 5 former Tigers on NBA rosters. As we learned when Lee was on a little while ago, Garrett Temple is now a Chicago Bull.
Love it.
Skylar Mays is an Atlanta Hawk. Of course, Ben Simmons is in Philadelphia. More on him in 1 second. Naz Reid in Minnesota. Naz Reid's going to make some noise this year. And then Tremont Waters in Boston.
Tremont's on the roster.
Tremont's on the roster.
Ooh, love it.
Ben Simmons, by the way, has sounded off on the possibility of a...
shooting threes?
No.
Oh.
Not going to happen. James Harden trade. He's like, I don't care. I just want to win championships. And that's Tigers in the Pros.
Brought to you by KYSBestHemp.com. KYSBestHemp.com.
We tried to rush it to get out on time.
Yeah, we did. Lewis Colvin's company. Go buy some hemp from there. They got everything that can help you. Dog treats, salve, honey sticks. Get over to KYSBestHemp.com. Buy some. AFR.
AFR.
2020 beyond 2020. The Williamson Eye Center can make it happen. Dr. Blake Williamson, my goodness, awesome work. He's, I always like to say he's got like the vocal local. So the anesthetic. While you may not have anesthesia, his calming voice and tone and how he talks to you during surgery, it's amazing how it keeps you relaxed. He's such a pro. I got to experience it firsthand. Dr. Blake Williamson performed my LASIK more than 2 years ago. Ready to take your call. Go for that free consultation. If you're on the fence, if you've thought about it, wondered about it, could I be a candidate for LASIK? Should I do it? Yes, yes, yes. Think about how many people in your life you know that tell you, best money I ever spent. Should have done it years ago. It was true then, it's true now. Call the best. Call the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020. 924-2020. No matter your refractive issue, there is a solution at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or online. Williamson, EY.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Callahan Injury Lawyer.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Some of the biggest names in the NBA will be on the floor when the season tips off tonight. Leading off, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving and the Nets versus Steph Curry and the Warriors. Durant, coming back from a ruptured Achilles, won't likely be on any minutes restrictions in his regular season debut for Brooklyn, explains ESPN's Malika Andrews.
They're really hoping to be able to unleash him a little bit, see what he can do. Steve Kerr said to me that he couldn't see the difference between the way Kevin Durant is playing now and the way he was playing before he hurt his Achilles. And that, Steve said, should be scary for the rest of the league.
Malika Andrews with Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti. The other matchup, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and the defending champion Lakers go up against Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers, 9:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Paul Pierce, Doug Collins, Michael Cooper, and Lauren Jackson headline the group of first-time nominees for the 2021 Basketball Hall of Fame. The entire class will be unveiled during the NCAA Final Four scheduled for April. And good news for Florida star forward Keontae Johnson, released from the hospital today, 10 days after collapsing on the court during a game.
Hey, this is Keyshawn Johnson, wishing you a happy and safe holiday season full of good food and family. Thank you for listening to Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin this past year and also in 2021.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Welcome in. Hour number 3 of AFR, 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. Brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Musso in for Matt. Brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
And Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And because it is Tuesday at 5 o'clock, we talk with former LSU Tiger quarterback Rohan Davey.
Rohan Davey. It's now time to talk LSU football with former Tiger quarterback Rohan Davey. Presented by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. If it's on the lot, it's online at SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
Rohan, you ever seen a woman letting her concealer bake?
Yeah.
Rohan Davey, how are you, sir?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right, Bruce. I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well. One more hour to go, then one more day, and I get a few days off as well. So that can't hurt. That can't hurt anybody. So LSU's making some changes, Ro. I think everyone expected some staff changes, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But what do you make of 5 staff changes over at LSU?
Yeah, needed. That's what I make of it. Needed. And kudos to Coach Ed Orgeron, Scott, and everybody that came about this decision. And now it's on to the most important thing is who gets hired.
With Bo Pelini.
So
go ahead. No, go ahead.
So that's the important thing for me is who they bring in. Like you said, we knew changes were coming. Now, did we learn from those previous hires and can now go forward based on what we have, the talent that we displayed this past season, even with the record not being what we wanted, but breaking 500. So let's see if we can go out and hire the right people for those positions.
What direction do you want to see them go in with the hires? Do you want to see them kind of trend more towards the younger up-and-coming coach? Do you want to see them go back to another veteran? What do you think would benefit this team in the current climate of college football today?
Well, the first thing is you have to make sure that you get somebody in there that could develop the quarterback position. Those are the positions that is one of the top 3 positions in football. So the defense, offensive line, and the quarterback position. I would love to see a young guy such as Brady that we had come in, mix in, and throw some innovation into the offense, but also knows how to develop the position. So it has to be someone, that comes with a record or with some kind of track record of being able to develop the position, put points on the board, and teach, be able to teach those guys, teach them, and see who we have there now, based on their talent, and develop that offense or the system around those guys based on the talent. 'Cause there's a lot of talent there. Defensively, man, listen, defensively, you need, so many. It's not necessarily always about the coordinators, but you need the guys that relay the message, that's the coach the position of these young guys, because younger guys need to be coached, man. And being as young as this roster is, and it's not only just going to continue to get younger because of the guys that's coming in, it's already young now. So you got to bring guys in here that can coach the position, that can coach the techniques of these positions, and that's those are the 2 most important things for me. Develop that position, that quarterback, bring a guy in that knows the position, that knows scheme. It has to be people that's someone that knows the SEC as well. So, it's a lot of factors that go into it, big dog.
It's going to be a really interesting offseason at LSU. Yeah. I think we can all agree on that. And it's for multiple different reasons. One, of course, now you have the new coaching hires being made. But Coach O, while having to do that, is also focusing on re-recruiting plenty of members of this current roster. If you're Coach O and you're talking to guys on the offensive line, or you're talking to some of the defensive linemen, linebackers, what is your pitch to them? After it's been a really tough year, what's your pitch to them to come back for one more go at it?
Well, the first pitch is who are the hires for those guys, I'm sure. Who are the hires and how do they fit into the scheme that we're bringing in here? So if I was Coach O with those guys, I would definitely have a conversation with those guys and even let them in a little bit on, what direction we're thinking about going in offensively, defensively, who we're thinking about bringing in, how it fits into their scheme. Also, let those guys see their draft status. If you're a first-round pick, hey, good luck to you. But if there's question marks about this, about that, whether or not you have a high motor, whether or not you're not, if you're not a first-round grade, if you're a 3rd or 4th-round grade, his job is to entice them to come back. Whether it's a life insurance policy that we take out on you, whether it's just showing them how the team is going to be better next year and how your draft stock will improve based on how we're going to be next year and how you're going to be a key contributor to the role. So, yeah, you do have to re-recruit these guys, man, and you do have to, show them that this year was just a stumbling block, and also show them how they can be part of the solution in turning and fixing the season around going forward, so give them some incentives and things of that nature. But, you do have to go after them and get some of these guys to come back, because you don't want to be starting all over again at some of these key positions with guys brand new again.
Switch gears a little bit here, Ro. LSU did play a game on Saturday that feels like a week ago by now, just with all the news that has come out. And they got a win. They moved to 5-5 on the season, which 2 weeks ago felt almost impossible. What did you like that you saw from the team, grit-wise, and just, I mean, Keishawn Butte, of course, was an absolute animal.
Right, and I mean, I liked and saw a fight. I like and saw the guys just come out and last game of the season, fighting to become 500. They had some things on the table, and you saw all of that come out. You saw them again rally around Max, and of course you saw the off-season work between two freshmen quarterback and receivers. I think that's what you saw Saturday night, was those guys from the beginning of coming into camp and starting their journey at LSU together when Miles Brennan was healthy and we still had a Jamar Chase and we still had all the guys that we had, and those guys were kind of at the back, looking and doing their work after everybody and getting extra work. And I think that's what you saw from them, and just that connection that they have early on because they're so comfortable with each other. Tremendous day of catching the football and making plays with the football by Butte. That was, a remarkable day for him. And hats off to the young Max Johnson for just, the kind of offense that we have and the type of players and skill position players that we have offensively. You need especially if you're young and it's a young squad, having that point guard mentality at the quarterback position and the coaches help with this as well, is to get the ball out those guys' hands, whether it's him, whether it's TJ, and just make the right decisions with the ball and get the ball in the hands of all those playmakers, young playmakers that we have offensively. So I think he did a good job of moving and keeping plays alive with his legs, being accurate with the football at times. Had the one big mistake in the end zone where it was short and it was an interception. Got to erase little things like that. But all in all, I think those guys came out and played and showed their toughness.
You were a part of Josh Reed's record in 2001. You threw the ball to him 19 times. He caught it, and for 293 yards. Did you ever think that record would go down? You ever think it'd be broken?
You know what, man? As back then, no. But as football has evolved, and it's been so pass happy now, and basically 7-on-7 now, where everybody's throwing the ball a ton. I eventually thought that would, be something that would have gone down, especially more in the last few years. But at the time, a remarkable feat. Still a remarkable feat, bro.
Rohan Davey is our guest. Ro, can we grab a quick break? When we get back, I want to ask you about each quarterback individually. What stood out that was good about them? What's one thing they need to work on going into the offseason? All right, so we're going to throw Ro on hold, take a break here real quick. Stick around. This is After Further Review.
AFR.
Okay, y'all, it is the most wonderful time of year. It is college football bowl season, and this has been a disjointed mess of a year, but by golly, they cannot take away bowl season from us, and the best place to watch all of your bowl action is at Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus, Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine in or carry out. Watch every single college football bowl game. Oh, by the way, you've also got NFL playoffs creeping upon us. You know where to be. That is at Pluckers. And if you need a great gift for anybody, Pluckers gift cards are an awesome option. It's a great stocking stuffer. It's great for a holiday gift exchange. Look, everybody eats food, so get them a Pluckers gift card. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. It's Pluckers, where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Toyotathon is happening right now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Get into a 20 Camry for $297 a month. Come on down to Happy Town for Toyotathon. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Hello.
What's up, B? What you doing?
Chilling at the office working. You?
Hanging at the job site. Chilling.
Roof's up?
Hey, Greg, roof up?
Roof's up! Roof's up! Roof's up!
Roof's up?
Roof's up!
Roof's up!
Roof's up!
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hey, T-Bob, sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans, so we're highlighting the fans that do it the most.
Every week, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out, 104.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Back here on After Further Review, Musso sitting in for Matt Moscona. We're chatting with former Tiger quarterback Rohan Davey. And, Ro, what I want to do here is LSU played 3 quarterbacks this year, as we all know, and I want to take them one by one and get you to tell me one thing you thought they did really, really well this year and one thing they can improve on in the offseason as they head into spring, where it looks as though they're going to all 3 be involved in a battle to see who gets to be the starter. Let's start with the guy who started the season, Miles Brennan.
Well, we actually saw all of them basically in the same amount of time, and they all basically were freshmen, so to speak, with Miles, being around longer. I had an opportunity to sit behind Joe, see Joe, study habits and things of that nature. So I think for Miles is just continue to evolve in the offense. And it's hard to do that when you haven't had a lot of reps of it. But when he comes back, it can't be as if we're starting over like this year. Some things that he has learned and has been able to see and pick up, he has to now implement it into next year to be a little bit further along. So instead of him playing in 3 games, he has to come out next year and play as if he's played, 9 games or a complete season. So for him, it's just continue to evolve in the offense, continue to learn the offense, and to manipulate the offense how he can as going into his senior season. What he did well, man, is accuracy with the football, especially when everything is good with him and he can keep him on the spot. If Miles has a clean pocket and no one in his face, I mean, I firmly believe he'd make the right throw and the right read every time. So that's definitely one of his strengths, and his arm talent is a strength.
Okay, so Miles goes down. TJ Finley steps in. What did you see from freshman number 1, TJ Finley?
Well, honestly, you see from him, everyone sees the size and the arm talent. And when you're a young quarterback, he and Max have some of the same things to work on when it comes to mentally. Mentally, for them is similar to a grasp of the offense, but not the same as Miles Brennan. Those two guys have to continue to understand where their keys are. How you can look at the defensive lineman and see if it's a shade to one side or another, and understands how that ties into the coverage to where you can only have a certain number of coverage based on what the front's playing. So that is part of the process where Miles should have already gotten past, and now these young guys coming in, because you don't see all those coverages in high school football. You don't see the front end. The front end should most of the time tie into the back, but it's more consistent in college. So the keys and the reads are different in high school as opposed to college. The keys may be the same. The way they play it is different. So those guys just have to, stay in a film room and seeing coverages, especially if they have problems against seeing a certain coverage. So for both of those guys, actually, is getting in the film room, man, getting more familiar with defenses, getting more familiar with the offense that they're going to run. And the quicker you get the coaches in there so they know that, then they can really get to work. So the first part about it is actually getting the coaches hired and in there so, it's not slowing down these guys' development. And the good thing you saw from TJ, man, is just that fire, that competitive edge that he has, that strong arm that he has to be able to attack all sides of the field. That's the biggest difference between he and Max. Is TJ, you have to defend the entire football field with him. You have to defend the entire football field, horizontal and vertically. So that's where he's strong at.
And finally, the third quarterback who got time after TJ Finley was Max Johnson. One thing Max does really well, and what does he need to improve on heading into the offseason?
Max is a very, very calculated thrower of the football, meaning he doesn't have the arm talent that TJ has. So his is more of a touch, quick read, get it out. So his understanding of defenses is going to be important. His understanding of who's covering who and where rotations from safeties are coming back is going to be important, because if he's late, because he doesn't have the arm talent as Miles Brennan or TJ Finley, he has to be more precise with the football because he can't make up for it if he's a hair late. So for him, get stronger in the off season, work with the great Tommy Mostert, Jack Marucci, get on a solid program, so just get stronger and continue to develop, because one of his biggest assets, man, and it's so great about him, is both guys are very poised for their age. They're very poised. The situation for either one of the guys doesn't seem too big. Max's ability to move the chains with his legs, ability to keep plays alive with his legs is, his strong suit. Is one of his strong suits. He utilizes it a little bit better than TJ does right now. So if he just continues to hone in on the things that, the running part of the game, the touch part of his game, the little subtle movements in the pocket part of his game, and then improve on getting stronger and understanding SEC defenses, he'll be fine as well.
Which of the three? Go ahead.
I don't think you're going to have – honestly, I don't think you're going to have a quarterback battle with all three guys. I don't think all three guys will be around.
You think one leaves before the battle even takes place, or maybe after?
No, I think that just like you have guys entering the transfer portal and things like that. I think guys make decisions now, man, especially with the COVID season. I think guys are going to make those decisions earlier than later.
So out of the three, even if it only ends up being two in the battle, out of the three today, who do you think has the edge heading into the offseason?
I honestly don't believe any of them have an edge. I think if anybody has an edge based on numbers, completion percentages, wins, things of that nature, played the longest and all that, I think TJ has an edge.
Oh, okay. That's not necessarily where I kind of thought you were going to go. You caught me by surprise. So, what about it then? What about TJ and what you saw gives him the edge?
No, I think what I said is if we based on numbers.
Okay.
If you go off of completion percentage, if you go off of wins, if you go off of times played, there's a reason why he was chosen to go in before Maxwell if the competition was just that close. I'm just saying, taking everything into consideration of the season and everything like that, I would say that no one really has an edge. But if I had to pick a guy that has an edge, it would be him.
All right, we will certainly find out then, won't we? All right, TJ Finley, Max Johnson, or Miles Brennan. You know, it's funny because this is a good problem to have, and normally when LSU was having quarterback battles, it was a question of, I guess maybe honestly, which guy's not going to lose you the game, and now you have three guys who have all proven they can go out there and win you a big game. So it's
well, the thing about it is we talk about recruiting guys. That's a position also that has to be recruited back. You gotta have. You would love to have all three of those guys come back, but you got to at least have two of them come back.
They just signed a pretty decent quarterback out of Texas, Garrett Nussmeier. Do you have a thought on Nussmeier after he signed last week?
Yeah,
with LSU?
listen, man, I've seen him. I know I've seen him. I actually saw him up close when he was at the A&M camp a couple years ago. He's a good high school quarterback. I'm not one now that it's so hard for you to see guys and know what guys are going to do when they get into school and how they are going to be when they come in the system. I don't know. I haven't seen a surefire miss, that come into college football in a long time besides the guys at Clemson right now. So for me, I think they're all talented guys, or else we wouldn't recruit them. But for me, it's get them on campus, get them integrated in the offense and integrated into this kind of football and this SEC life, and let's see what's get done. I think he's a good talent, and to be able to come in and add some depth to the position. But when he get here, we'll see.
He's Rohan Davey, former LSU Tiger quarterback, stops by every Tuesday during football season here on After Further Review. Ro, I appreciate you carving out some time for me today, man. Enjoyed it.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you. That's Rohan Davey. We will take one more break, come back, two more segments till we close it out here on AFR on this Wednesday. Stick around. Tuesday.
AFR brought to you by Darren James and Associates, powered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place at agent225.com. You know where to find him, agent225.com. Remember, working with Darren James obligates you to nothing. If at any point you're not thrilled with the service that you're receiving, fire Darren and let you out of a contract free and clear. No questions asked. But you won't. There's a reason that Darren James is on the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1,000 realtors in America. There's a reason. It's because he gets results. Darren has perfected the systems and the processes to get your home sold faster for more money. If the New Year's resolution is going to be in a new home, get started today and call Darren James and get your home sold. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Commercial or residential, buying or selling. It's Darren James. And remember,
think real estate, think Darren James.
Le posso offrire un caffè?
Le posso offrire un caffè?
Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Choose your fighter.
with antioxidant vitamin C.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
One thing you can always count on this time of year is Happy Honda Days at Richards Honda. With year-end clearance prices on every vehicle in stock. Save thousands on some of the best, most awarded vehicles on the road. And shop the way you feel comfortable. At the dealership or online with home delivery. So everyone can take advantage of Happy Honda Days. No wonder people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Love telling you about the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana, because for me, going on a half decade now, where they've changed the way that I felt. We came home from the hospital with Drew. That completely zapped me, all the stress and fear and anxiety. That takes a physical toll on you, and it did on me. Simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. Our bodies naturally produce hormones that contribute to the way we feel. And as we age, every human, this happens differently at a different rate. For me, it was accelerated because of a life experience. Could be the same for you. Stress ages us. And hormone replacement therapy has been a huge impact in my life. It's helped me feel younger. It's helped me sleep better at night. It's helped me have motivation to get in the gym. Gotten better results when I do work out. Same can be true for you. Online, theantiagingclinics.com. Blue Bond in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Capri in Lafayette, or online at theantiagingclinics.com.
They did it. They got it done. The Auburn Tigers have a head football coach. Bruce Feldman reports Boise State's Brian Harsin has agreed to become the new Auburn coach per source. Harsin went 69-19 with the Broncos. Gotta say, bold move by Auburn to hire Boise State's coach while the famous Idaho Potato Bowl is going on as we speak. Of course, that's played at, it's on commercial right now, but that's played at Boise State's home field. Also, probably congratulations to Brian Harsin on his new defensive coordinator, Kevin Steele. because that might have been included in those parameters to take the job at Auburn. Prior to Boise State, he was the head coach at Arkansas, also had a stint as the co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Texas, was at Boise State in an assistant role from 2002 to 2010, actually 2001 to 2010 as he was a graduate assistant, and before that, Eastern Oregon was his first job, running backs coach and wide receiver. His overall head coaching record, 76-24, man. This seems like a really, really solid hire for Auburn. He has won a total of 4 conference championships between the one in the Sun Belt in 2013 and 3 Mountain West titles at Boise State, and was a Broyles Awards finalist in 2009.
He also looks like he is Gus Malzahn's regular rebound. Apparently, he was hired at Arkansas State after Malzahn.
Well, hey, if it works, I guess, right? I mean, what is it with Auburn and the rebound hires, honestly? I mean, Gene Chizik gets fired. They hire his OC. Gus gets fired. They want to hire his DC, but people say you can't do that.
So they go get the guy that replaced him at Arkansas State back in the day.
They had to be thinking, well, this has got to be the next best thing, right? But in all seriousness, it does look like a very solid hire for Auburn. And for a while there, and we detailed their coaching search a little earlier, with everybody turning them down, with them just swinging and missing and swinging and missing and swinging and missing, it seemed like they were destined to probably not get the coach they wanted. You just got a guy who has 76 wins in his career as a head coach and won 69 games at Boise State. Would imagine he'd get a pretty hefty pay raise right now, too. His annual salary is $1.75 million. I think Auburn will pay him plenty more than that. So Auburn has their coach, Brian Harsin, formerly of Boise State and Arkansas State. Look forward to seeing him on the Plains going up against the likes of LSU and, oh, yeah, that other guy who's, in your own state, Nick Saban. LSU's conducting their own coaching search. Actually, 5 of them. Get you caught up on the events of the day that have it's been another really busy day over at Football Ops for LSU. It was reported and now confirmed that offensive coordinator Steve Ensminger will not return to that role in 2021. Slinger will, in fact, retire from his on-field position and transition into an analyst role, and it's well-deserved, and it was his choice based on all accounts that we've heard, is that they came to Steve and said, you can remain the offensive coordinator as long as you want, or you can transition out of that role. Retirement is always rumored with Steve Ensminger, it feels like, every offseason, and this time he's finally done it, and he deserves it, man. Just a guy who never wanted any of the credit, and honestly, Coach Ensminger had a ton of success as the OC under Ed Orgeron, both in the interim role and the permanent role, that he deserves a lot of credit for. He was your play caller last year. He set records in the interim role as the OC when Coach O took over for Les Miles. The first game out, they go out there and break the yardage record at LSU against Missouri. And Coach Ensminger just always wanted to pass the buck on to the next guy. And, it's not me. It's the players. It's Joe Brady. It's the other guys under me on the staff. And honestly, a lot of the credit really should have gone to Steve Ensminger. And now that he's going to transition into the analyst role, it's time we all give him that credit that he so rightly deserved. Yesterday, it was announced that Bill Johnson would kind of do the same thing, retire, not return to his position as defensive line coach. Today, LSU confirmed that and noted that he will also transition into an analyst role. That's a guy that Coach O trusts an awful lot. It's a guy who coached Coach O. It is a mentor of his and somebody he definitely wants around. So I'm sure that change is not going to be easy, but it's a change that obviously was in the best interest of the program, and it's another guy who's just put his time in and gets to now go enjoy retirement. So kudos to them. So now you're left, though, with 2 more openings. Because late last night, Scott Linehan, it was reported that he will not return as passing game coordinator. And that's after Bo Pelini was announced that he will not return as the defensive coordinator and later confirmed by LSU. And then there's Bill Bush as well, who also is set to not return as the safeties coach. So what do you do with each of these positions? Safeties coach, I think, is real easy. I think you just give safeties back to Corey Raymond, and he becomes the defensive back coach again and not just cornerbacks coach. What's more interesting is what you do with that 10th assistant spot that Bill Johnson occupied. A couple options exist. Obviously, you could make that just another offensive coach. You could have add another coach to the offensive side of the ball for your 10th assistant. Or when you go get the defensive coordinator, do you just have that guy be the DC and then maybe hire a linebackers coach or something to that effect? Or do you just go with what you've done here lately? I mean, man, Chavis was a defensive coordinator linebackers coach. Dave Aranda, defensive coordinator linebackers coach. Bo Pelini, defensive coordinator linebackers coach. One of the top names floating around is Marcus Freeman at Cincinnati. He's a defensive coordinator linebackers coach. So maybe that's not the most optimal route they choose to go, but it is an option that they have. And then there's the offensive coordinator and passing game coordinator positions. And last year, when the passing game coordinator job came open, the first name out of everybody's mouth was your lead analyst, George Munoz, as the guy who, I mean, it was widely assumed that Munoz would slide right into that role vacated by Joe Brady and be LSU's passing game coordinator, and for a number of different reasons. The quarterbacks loved him. He did a lot to help the quarterbacks out. He did a lot in the game planning aspect of it. He was familiar with the scheme. He was on the front row of the Heisman Trophy ceremony as a guest of Joe Burrow, just to show you how much he meant to the players on this team and to the quarterback room. Ultimately, that didn't happen, and George Munoz, as we know, went to Baylor and with Dave Aranda. Well, today, when Baylor parted ways with Larry Fedora, their offensive coordinator, it was also noted that George Munoz is no longer on staff at Baylor. Might you see a reunion? Might LSU bring George Munoz home in whether it's passing game coordinator or offensive coordinator? Whatever role that is, you have a very similar situation on LSU staff this year with your lead analyst in Russ Callaway, who is a guy who the players love. They enjoy playing for him. He's very highly respected by Coach O. Might he be this year's George Munoz, where it's just, okay, slide Russ Callaway up in there. Let him go. He's your guy. Elevate him into one of those roles, whether it be OC or whether it be the passing game coordinator. And then, of course, you can go outside of that. You don't have to promote within. The chat has thought about, who is it? I want to give the guy he thought of the idea. He suggested him. Cooper J in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat wonders about Brian Johnson, the current offensive coordinator at Florida. Yeah, sure. That sounds like look what Florida's offense did this past season. People were comparing Kyle Trask, the numbers he was putting up to Joe Burrow. I'm absolutely sure. Let's get him here. The one problem is he's shown a extreme loyalty to Dan Mullen. He was even under Mullen at Mississippi State and has been with him ever since Mullen's been at Florida. So that might be a little tough, but I'm all for the outside the box thinking. Brian Johnson could be a great fit at LSU. How will LSU go about the coaching roles? Will Coach O do it the same way he has done it? Will he go with guys he's familiar with and relationships he's had? And it's not just Coach O that does that. A lot of coaches hire that way, especially ones who have been around a lot because they have a lot of different relationships. Or will LSU think outside the box? Will they trend younger? Will they trend into a more fresh take on the college football coaching ranks? That's going to be the question. That's going to be what we're going to have to figure out here in the coming months, as it's going to be a very, very interesting offseason in LSU. We keep at LSU, we keep saying it. They've got their hands full, man. They've got to replace 5 coaches on staff. They still have to close out the 2021 signing period strong, and they have to re-recruit guys who are currently on this roster to see if they can get them to come back, keep the foundation they laid here in 2020 moving forward to into 2021. A lot on their plate. It's going to be important for them to get it done. And on top of that, the budget's squeezed because of COVID. LSU's reported upwards of $80 million in losses. Not a position I envy to be in, but it's a position that they're in, and it's a position that's going to be very important for them to execute very well if they want to continue.
And doesn't that put Ed Orgeron in a really rough spot, because it's going to be all eyes on each and every one of these hires.
Yeah.
And each and every one of these hires has to be done on a budget.
Right.
So if you're not given carte blanche to just go out and find whomever and pay them whatever. So, I mean, if he hits on 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, like the backlash of the one that's wrong or the 2 that's wrong is probably going to be greater than you think.
I mean, if he hits on, I think it depends on who it is.
Right.
If it's a coordinator, it'd be greater. If he whiffs on the defensive line coach, if anybody hits on the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator, I don't think the backlash would be
Do you think
greater.
it matters if it's offensive or defensive coordinator that he misses on?
No. I don't, in all honesty. I think because
But those OC and DC are going to be the 2 coaching spots with the biggest price tags.
Or
they would have the biggest competition for price tags. So when it comes back home and if you take a shot on someone inexperienced and younger who hasn't held down the post of actually calling plays, actually being a coordinator, if you take a shot there and go after somebody who is a bit of a long shot, you're going to suffer the repercussions of that.
You will. Absolutely. And one reason I think it doesn't matter if it's defensive coordinator or the offensive coordinator is because now you've seen the success he's had at the offensive coordinator position and the passing game coordinator position, and you've seen his one hire at the defensive coordinator position last one season. So if that happens again, of course the backlash is going to be great there. But in the other terms of, okay, he's had success at offensive coordinator, you expect success from the offensive coordinator and pass game coordinator spots.
And that's why I asked if it would matter more on the defensive side or the offensive side, because he's got to win on offense. He has wins under his belt on the offensive side.
But I think he has to win on defense because he doesn't have the win under his belt on the defensive side.
Yeah, that's what we're saying the same thing.
But so it doesn't. It won't matter.
No, to me, the defensive hire means more.
Okay. I think he has to nail both of them, and if one of them doesn't hit, the backlash is just it's not going to be pretty. But he's got time. That's one thing he's got right now, and time is what he needs to take in making these decisions. And I think Coach O knows that. I don't think he needs me sitting up here telling him. Come back here on AFR, do some Otter Locks and what we learned to close out this Tuesday, brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana.
AFR.
Look up at your roof, man. Does it look gross? When was the last time you had your roof inspected? High wind, heavy rain, hail, sleet, snow, maybe even. Probably not snow, unless that was the snow from 3 years ago. Premier South Roofing, you take care of all of your roofing issues. If it's roof repairs, roof replacements, gutters, awnings, metal, slate, tile, they do it all at Premier South Roofing. They are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, Super Service Award from Angie's List, Torch Award for Ethics in Business. You know how you are going to be treated when you call Premier South Roofing. You know you can trust the company that you are calling when you call Premier South Roofing. PremierSouthLA.com. Find them online, PremierSouthLA.com, and they cover so much of South Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles, and the North Shore, they can get to you, and they're online at PremierSouthLA.com. See pictures of their work. Learn more about the jobs that they do at Premier South Roofing and PremierSouthLA.com.
$14,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford Expedition XLT. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
You may not know about the 4 Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4 kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4 Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4 Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Back here closing out Tuesday's AFR. That means it's time to talk gambling with Jimmy Ott.
Otterlocks.
Otter, Tulane just scored a garbage time touchdown. Did that affect the line in the Potato Bowl?
Second half total went right over, baby. Garbage for some, goal for others. We are celebrating over here at those big plays.
Another man's trash.
Yes, indeed. Listen, it is the season, man. These minor bowls, these games. I think the over/under for these games is right around 4 hours. This one's coming in, just got finished at 3:52.
Mm-hmm.
So they just last longer, man. They do more trick plays. They do all this. And this were some really rough conditions in Nevada today. I'm sorry, in Boise, because a lot of wind. Nevada and both Tulane were running the football a lot. I mean, they were scared to throw the ball today. But Oak goes over 57, 38-27 final. Wave goes down. The first bowl loss for Willie Fritz, but he was out his All-American Conference. The senior defensive end, Patrick Johnson, his dad just passed. He did not make the trip. Nose tackle with DeAndre Williams. He opted out. He's getting ready to have his first child. Want to take COVID for precautions. And then also Cam Sample was just first-team American defensive end, just a little beat up. All these guys were out. That was going to make a tough Tulane defense even, not I would say tough, a weak defense that much weaker because, hey, Willie Fritz, the offense coordinator was hired as the Southern Miss new head coach. Defense coordinator fired. So the LSU and Tulane firing their defensive coordinators this year, and so down 3 quality guys. Patrick Johnson, the defensive end, tied for the nation lead in sacks. Now Tulane played 11 games, a lot of others didn't, but still, it goes over. Last night's game went over with yesterday's game with App State and North Texas. And you talk about the over, you think they're betting it tonight. It is gone from 70.5. It's now at 78. I'm seeing some 79. So nobody plays at a faster pace than Central Florida. That's why you look at yards per play as opposed to total yardage, because they're going to get in more plays and more drives per game. They go really, really fast. And the big question is BYU. BYU, how motivated are they? They lose to Coastal Carolina. Do you know the thing about them, Musso?
I got about 30 seconds, Otter.
Coastal Carolina game, they were 9-1 against the spread. Against some weak competition, they might be the subject of an inflated line. I'm going with Central Florida plus the 6 against BYU tonight. Too quick in college basketball, West Virginia and Iowa as well.
Absolutely. You're at Doe's Eat Place, Otter?
Doe's Eat Place, Government Street, in the Crown Town room. Come on, see us.
Thanks a lot. Jimmy Ott's Game Time follows us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Brain, what'd you learn today?
I learned that Otter got his second half over with 7 seconds on the clock.
Paul, what'd you learn?
Auburn got a coach.
I learned.
Musso, what'd you learn?
I learned that Max Johnson's mother played volleyball in college, thanks to Lee Feinswag. Join us for tomorrow's AFR. It'll be the last one of the week.
AFR.
Brody Bay! Shawbills! Tire and Auto Service. So my sister's in town. Do you know that?
Yes, I did.
She lives in Kansas.
She does.
She drove in for Thanksgiving. She, her husband, the 2 kids drove in from Kansas. Husband flew back to Kansas to work. Alicia and the kids stayed till Christmas. Morgan, my brother-in-law, is going to fly back for Christmas, and then they'll all drive back together.
Got it.
You better believe before they get on the road to Kansas with my godchild and my niece, bringing that thing to Shawbills.
Better.
Taking care of that minivan. Tires are going to be adequately pressured, rotated. If we need an oil change, that's getting did. If they need new tires, that's getting did too. Shawbills can do it all. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com to find the location nearest you. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices with 18 locations all around South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with